you're a creative entrepreneur, you got a big vision, you got a lot on your plate, today is perfect for you. We're going to talk about how to take that creative mind and actually avoid the pitfalls of procrastination and get things done. Hi, I'm Melanie Benson-Strick here, and I'm a small business optimizer. My job on this planet is to help entrepreneurs and thought leaders and people who are playing a big game really be able to make their business perform better while taking more time for having an enjoyable life and enjoying the profits of all that hard work. And today I'm bringing a special guest on, someone who I have enjoyed getting to know the last few years, somebody who is a specialty in this topic of getting things done. This is Miss Samantha Bennett. Hi. And Samantha is a creativity and productivity expert. She's the founder of the Organized Artist Company, which I love that title. And she's the author of the best-selling book, Get It Done, From Procrastination to Creative Genius in 15 Minutes a Day, which Seth Godin called an instant classic. What better recommendation can you have?
I'm not over it. I'm still not over it. I can't believe that happened.
Oh, just bask in that beautiful accolade.
Totally.
Hey, Samantha, how are you?
I'm great, Melanie. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Sure. So, there's so many different things that I want to talk to you about, but I think it'd be really great just to start with a little bit about how did you get to the place that, you became an organized artist and a specialist in that area?
Yeah. So my background's in theater. I was one of those kids who, put on plays in the backyard and went to theater camp, and I always wanted to be an actor, and I became one. I worked for a long time at the Second City in Chicago. I did a lot of improv comedy and then moved to LA. And so in both Chicago and LA, I was leading this actor's life of having a million different part-time jobs and gigs and projects and shows. And I was really busy. It was creatively very satisfying and financially disastrous. And along the way, I just got really interested in how do creative people make decisions? Mm-hmm. How do entrepreneurs decide? When you are your business, how do you decide when there's a million ways you could promote yourself? There's a million things you could be doing. How do you do it? And then how do you stick with it? Like through the groan zone, that middle part where it feels like nothing's going to happen. Or then at the end where it seems like it really might happen. And then that's just terrifying. So I started to teach this workshop called Get It Done. And it was just a lot of worksheets really and questions and inquiries, because it's not like I've got some incredible way and everybody should do things my way. But what I have are some incredible methods by which you can figure out what your incredible method is, right? So you can really tune into your own intuition and tune into your own natural rhythms and listen to those creative impulses and do the stuff that only you could ever think of to do that's going to make, such a huge, great splash and be so fun for you. And that was just one of a lot of things I was doing. And then I was talking to a friend of mine and he goes, wait a minute, you have this class that you love to teach that always sells out. That's what, why aren't you doing this all the time? I was like, interesting idea. And so in early 2009, I just thought, well, I wonder if I could do this full time. And then I thought, I guess I better order business cards. I'm like, I knew nothing.
That's the moment, right? Like I'm ordering business cards. I have a website. I'm real.
I built my first website on iWeb. I mean, I knew nothing.
I don't even know what that is. iWeb.
It was Apple's old web builder inside the computer. It was great. I mean, it worked.
It was creative.
It was creative.
That's actually, I think many of us kind of fall into entrepreneurship. It's not the thing we set out for, that's for sure, but
completely inadvertent.
It's actually, I think it's a question a lot of us face. Like you can go a million different directions. Our creative mind never turns off. There's never, most of us don't struggle with ideas and opportunities.
No.
We struggle with the clarity of what's going to get our attention, because if we say yes to all of it, we've got a really, really full plate. There's a million things that we have to get done. We never go to sleep. So what's the answer? Like, what did you discover on this quest to figuring out how do I decide?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. There's one is, and it is one of the joys of working with creative people, is there's no shortage of ideas. There's a million ideas, and not only is there a million ideas, but they are like full and complete, and sequels and theme parks and T-shirts and grassroots movements, like really complete. And there's generally not that big of a problem with the vision, right? The problem is that you get this big vision and then you are immediately stumped and overwhelmed because how could you even move forward on something that big?
Right.
So my whole thing, and this is why the book is the way it is 15 minutes a day. Spend 15 minutes a day, every single day, on the project that matters most to you.
Yes.
You know is going to make the biggest difference to you. And whether that's your prayer and meditation practice or playing guitar or dancing or going for a walk, or it's working on your book or, improving your website or working on your marketing materials or whatever it is that like, yep, if I did that, that would really make a difference. Because, you get everything done for everybody else all day long. But somehow the stuff that matters most to you doesn't quite make it on the list. So my whole thing is do it first, 15 minutes every single day before you check your email.
Yes.
Before you check your email. Spend 15 minutes a day.
Wait, hold on. Before you check your email.
That's what I'm saying. It's amazing how much you can get done in 15 minutes. And even if you're just staring at a blank piece of paper, that's fine. 15 minutes of enforced boredom never hurt a person, but it's amazing how much movement you can generate in just that short amount of time. And then, yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted to say about that.
Well, I do love that you threw in the before the email because I think for a lot of people to get distracted, never really get to the important things. It's that email, it's the chain of, oh my God, there's 7 million things that now people are asking me for, or the bright shiny object and squirrel, I'm over here, I'm over there.
Right.
You got to create that boundary with yourself. And I think around time management practices, that's a critical one. Get the important stuff done before you allow the vortex to open up.
And get your cell phone out of the bedroom. I hear this is an epidemic. People are sleeping with their cell phones right next to them, or even in their hand under their pillow.
Get that.
And then they're not even awake yet and they're checking. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. First of all, that's an important time, especially for a creative person, that just waking up, stretching, cuddling, sort of half dreaming time. That's a very important and fertile time for the creative person.
The theta waves are the most active.
Exactly. And to slam the, her current news and Sadie got new shoes and Jennifer's going to lunch with Steve, into your brain at that moment is not helpful.
Yeah. Or to take that to the next level, you're already getting slammed with people with their emergencies. And now you're you're in panic mode before you even get out of bed. And you haven't really even taken care of your own mind and gotten yourself grounded for the day. And you're already freaked out about how you're going to tackle this ever-growing list of to-dos, right?
Right. And I guarantee you there is nothing out there that cannot wait for half an hour.
Yes. I know somebody that needs to listen to this. He actually might be editing this. So,
hi, special message just for you.
Yes. You know who you are. Samantha, all joking aside, this is a huge issue for entrepreneurs because there really doesn't seem to be an end to the day. There doesn't ever seem to be an end to the list. And I know for a lot of people, one of the biggest challenges they face is, fitting it all in and then having that wall hit them when it's just too much. Let's talk a little bit about the dance between procrastination and overwhelm for a creative, and how do we move through those feelings of overwhelm or procrastination, because they're kind of two bookends to the same issue.
Yeah, that's interesting. One of the things I say sometimes is that procrastination is genius in disguise. And what I mean is it's your genius.
Okay.
So that thing that you're procrastinating on, it's an indication to the strength of your desire. The fact that you're still thinking about this idea and you feel bad about not having done it, these are two very strong indicators that you're really onto something. Because you've had a grillion other ideas that have kind of come and gone, but there's some that are still really pulling on your sleeve. And if you get over the nagging part of it, I can't believe I haven't done that. Oh my God. Get underneath that a little bit and tune into the strength of that desire. You really want to explore this idea. You are really interested, right? And sometimes you get underneath the idea and really tune in and realize, oh, I'm not really interested. That's why I'm not doing it, is because genuinely I don't care.
Right.
I don't care about having an ebook. I don't care. And let's face it, one of the keys to successful entrepreneurship is selective neglect.
That's a great term. I've never heard that before.
Selective neglect. I'm like, I see you over there, Periscope. You just wait. Like, I am not dealing with you right now.
It's hilarious. That's exactly how I feel about Periscope, by the way.
Exactly. I'm like, every time how great it is, I'm like, yeah, it'll be great later on too, if, in the 10 minutes before something else takes its place.
So what you're saying is you got to like understand where the procrastination is coming from. And is it a message of, this is just a nice idea, but it doesn't really fit? Or is it, this is something that you have passion for. Why are you letting other things get your attention? Like really, like it's still here. It's not going away.
Right. And to understand that it's fine that it hasn't happened up to now. Like you just haven't been ready. It's fine. In whatever way readiness has to happen, like you just haven't been ready, but now you're ready. So make that 15 minutes, make that commitment to yourself. And, sometimes I had somebody ask me this once, and I thought it was such a good question. Like, how do you tell the difference between the natural sort of reluctance you feel when you're about to try something new or something that feels big versus that really gut feeling of like, oh, this is not the right thing for me?
Right.
And I said, I'm not sure you can tell the difference before you start. I think those feelings are so close together. I'm not sure you can tell the difference. So this is the other reason I like the 15-minute thing is like, start, take a couple of steps, follow the sparkly breadcrumbs, a little bit and see what happens. Because what my experience is that one of two things happens. Either the universe comes rushing at you. And the next thing you know, and I get emails like this every day from people who are like, oh my God, I was doing the 15 minutes and the next thing I knew, I'm in line at the dry cleaners and the guy's next to me, his sister's a literary editor and, blah, 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 and, now I've sold my book or whatever. Or you take a couple of steps and it's like, it's just not working. Like it's a lot of knees and elbows. It's a lot of not returned phone calls or missed communications. You just go, okay, not the right thing, not the right time. We tried it. I'll put it aside. Maybe visit again later, but you can't know it until you're in it.
It's just occurring to me because I work with a lot of people who are really pressed for time. They don't have enough time for anything. And one of the things we're working on is really getting clear what should get your yes. And I actually use a formula. But what you're talking about is just getting into action and feeling your way through it and just noticing what happens. And what I'm realizing is that I think for a lot of people, of course, we're all different, we have different processing styles. So some things will relate more than others. But when you have a scarcity of money or time, all of a sudden, what you say yes to becomes really, really critical, right? Like there's this tension of like, I have to get it right. I can't afford to make a mistake. And I think when that is maybe at play, it kind of messes with people's brain and that causes them to get paralyzed when maybe it's just, you need to give yourself a break and just take a couple steps into it to see how it feels. It just was occurring to me
I think that's exactly right. And I think school kind of does a number on us too. Because I'm surprised.
Additional education, not working for creatives?
Right.
Come on.
I mean, because school, the way you succeed in school is knowing the answers in advance.
Yeah. Studying, right? Preparing.
Being prepared, knowing the answers in advance.
Right. That's why it never worked.
And being able to answer all those questions.
Yeah.
Well, creative projects, entrepreneurship, life, not like that.
Right.
And it's the first thing I hear whenever somebody, like, they have that beautiful moment of clarity of like, oh, that really is what I want to do. Oh, that really is, that's the perfect thing. And then immediately, well, but I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know how to publish a book. I don't know how to build a business. I don't know how to get a client. It's like, just calm down, take a breath. And like, of course you don't know how. You've never done it before. But someone has. So, Google it.
Or hire a mentor, or get an expert, or get an assistant.
Right, or take a couple of steps and follow the sparkly breadcrumbs and see what reveals itself. Like, you're a smart person, you're resourceful, you'll figure it out.
I like the Google answer, though, because really, you can pretty much find every answer to everything on Google.
Seriously.
Yeah. Unless it has to do with your iPhone. But that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother conversation. Right. So, Sam, I love where we're going with this because, really the creative mind, it is what, in my opinion, the creatives on this planet are how we create transformation. It's like anything that's new comes from a creative place. And sometimes just something better comes from a creative place. And yet it's the creatives that oftentimes struggle with, balancing that creative energy with making money in their business, right? Because running your business is very different than the creative, getting a creative idea and just playing with it. I'm kind of curious for you, because, this whole theme is optimizing and how do you make things work better? What did you have to learn how to make work better as a creative to have a successful business?
That's such a good question. Well, I have found entrepreneurship to be the single greatest tool for spiritual development and personal growth of all time.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, if you ever wondered what your crap was, start a business. Because your issues will come right up from under the bed. Like, hello.
Right up there with being married.
Right up there with being married, exactly. It's the perfect mirror. So, one of the things that really came up for me, and I hear this a lot too, more and more, I feel like, was this issue around visibility. Around, like, is it okay for me to hold this space, to ask for this amount of money, to be this visible, to have Seth Godin like my book? That feels like a lot of pressure. Is that okay? And what I realized was, for me, and a lot of us didn't exactly grow up in the happy childhood club.
Yeah.
So we developed these magical skills as children, these superpowers, right? And one of the superpowers I developed was the ability to turn invisible. When I felt like I was, like, too much attention was getting focused or something was, I can disappear in front of your very eyes. And I bet a lot of people listening can too. They're like, oh, I can do that.
Yep.
I've absolutely done that. Or you develop the ability to tell when the grownups are lying, or you develop the ability to not want anything. No, I don't need anything. I'm okay. Like, I'll just, I can survive on crumbs.
Yep.
Right. So now we're grownups. We get to reparent ourselves. We get to work back through that. And so, but it's no wonder, like, all of a sudden your business starts to succeed or things start to happen. And I see it all the time. People turn invisible, or they start to, they get rid of all the money so they can still survive on crumbs or whatever. So I don't know how closely that answers your question, but to me, it's all the personal growth stuff that I've had to, like, every single time I'm having an issue in my business. It's like, okay, where am I being asked to grow? Where am I being asked to become a better woman, a better communicator, a better child of God, a better whatever, a better citizen, as it's always going forward.
What I hear you saying is, and by the way, this comes up a lot on the show, because I think most of us would agree that the inner realm dictates the outer success. And if you haven't done the inner work to be strong and confident and to be able to accept your greatness and to be able to, exude your specialness,
right?
And it's very hard to receive that level of financial wealth. We do reject. I mean, that's what my whole Money DNA program is about, is the beliefs and the conflicts and the fears that cause us to unconsciously reject money and success.
And seriously, I see people, it's like they're going, get that money away from me. Get it away. Like, they're literally batting it away from them.
Yeah.
I had one client who I don't know how she ended up on my Facebook feed, but there was a little conversation between her and somebody else. And somebody said, oh, do you have gift certificates? And she goes, no. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, someone is trying to throw money. They're at the door knocking, saying, please take this money from me. No.
Oh my goodness.
I can't. I'm like, yes, you do. I'm like, write it on the back of a matchbook. That's good for one. Like,
yes, exactly. My guess is that creative problem solving wasn't really her strong area that day.
And I see it all the time, and it's one of the, I'm actually started working on a new book called, right now it's called Start Right Where You Are, and how little changes can make a big difference for overwhelmed procrastinators and frustrated overachievers and recovering perfectionists. And it really is about that inner work, because I can tell you some idea that's going to make you $20,000, but if it's not okay with you that you make $20,000, you're not even going to hear me.
Yes. It doesn't register as possible, so you ignore it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You brought up your book, and I know as an author, you probably read a lot. I thought it might be kind of fun to have you share a book that's really helped you on your own journey to being, more confident as a creative entrepreneur.
Yeah. I do. I read a ton. And it's one of my favorite things about actually becoming an entrepreneur is there's been so much to learn. And I love learning new stuff. I love, figuring out Infusionsoft and figuring out websites and figuring out all that. Who knew I had an inner tech nerd? One of the ones I've been reading recently that I love is called Uncontainable. And it's by the guy who created the Container Store.
Love it.
Kip or Kit. I can't remember his last name right now. But it's great. And one of the things I really love about it is it's about growing a business, and a big business that's really values-based. They really walk their talk. They're not just kidding about we value our people. Oh no, they value their people, and they have practices and processes in place that ensure that their people feel valued. And just an incredible company culture. And so I love books like that show you how you can really make a difference in the world and have a business that is actually a force for good.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to check that out. I didn't know they put a book out because I love the Container Store because I'm a organizing obsessive.
I know, right? Swoon. That's a hot date for me. You take me to the New York Container Store, maybe swing by Staples. Woo!
Oh my God, you're crazy. We had all this in common. We didn't even know it. Oh my God. Now I don't even remember what I was going to ask you next, but I think I do. If you're a small business owner working way too much in your business, then you're not really putting your business to work for you. And you could benefit greatly by learning how to develop a team of world-class players to help you accomplish more and literally free you up to get more done. Now, we all want to shatter our income goals. We all want to be able to accomplish much greater results, but it's really difficult to do if you don't know how to delegate masterfully and be able to get the right things off your plate to the right people who will really get things done. That's where the power of the virtual team comes in. Be sure to get your copy right now at virtualteamebook.com. So I think another thing that a lot of people don't really understand about kind of taming that creative mind, or at least harnessing it and channeling it more effectively, is technology, right? Again, there's a million different things of technology out there. I think 2016 is the year that I just want to help people really learn how powerful technology can be.
And not only how powerful, but how much it can facilitate that which is most human.
Yes. And so I guess that's my question for you is there a, I can't live without this piece of technology that's made my life so much better that you recommend to your clients?
When I started my business, I got Infusionsoft really early on. It was early 2009. It was pretty early in the life of Infusionsoft, and it was very early in the life of my business. It was a huge crashing investment.
Yes, it was.
Way more money than I had at the time. I didn't have a budget. There was no income. There was no business plan. There was no revenue. However, I knew that that's where my business was going. And at the time, there was nothing on the market that did what it could do in terms of email and automation and being able to keep track of who's clicking on what and who's interested and who's bought what and who hasn't. And so I got it. I learned it. I tied myself to the desk and learned it in a weekend. I didn't know it was supposed to be hard, so I just learned it. And I just love it. I think it's amazing. It's an amazing piece of technology. It gets criticized for being complicated and kind of fiddly, and it is sometimes complicated and fiddly. Mm-hmm. It's also emerging technology. It's changing all the time and improving all the time. It is kind of the Lamborghini of email marketing.
Yes.
But it literally taught me business. This idea of, well, you have a web form on your site so people can, opt in. They can let you know that they want to know more about you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. And then you can give them something in exchange for their email address, like a lead magnet, an ebook. Oh, that seems like a good idea. And then you have a follow-up sequence that happens automatically. Oh, yes, I should follow up with people. And automatically, what a good idea. And have you noticed, like, most businesses do not follow up with anybody ever at all?
Yes.
Like, I'm amazed by this. I'm like, again, you get that money away from me. There's a thank you page. Right. I should thank them. You cannot make people feel too good about the decision to do business with you. Like, there's so much about the way that system is structured that educated me. And then it's just an incredible community. The people who use Infusionsoft, the people who work there, like, again, they're deeply nice. They take their niceness very seriously.
They are. And again, it's another company that really cares about their employees and creates value and extends that out into the different communities they serve. And I'm an Infusionsoft user as well. I can't imagine running my business without it. Some of its blips and everything. But, and we should just probably say that when we're talking about using a technology like this, even though it is a big investment, what it creates in terms of power and the ability to optimize your marketing and your sales process is liberating. Because trying to create that manually or with humans would cost you 10 times what you paid for the solution.
Right.
So
and you'd never get it done. I mean,
right.
It would it's too much. When you sign up at theorganizerartistcompany.com, you opt in for whatever the latest thing is to opt in for. There's usually some webinar or something that I've done. The first bunch of emails you get are, for lack of a better word, poems. Mm-hmm. There's the Ode to the Overwhelmed. There's In Praise of the Capable. There's one for the Grumpy. There's one for the Oversensitive. And they get dripped out with some other articles and stuff I've written. And I won an award for this marketing. I didn't even know it was marketing. I was just like, oh, this will be fun. And what happens is, the poems are very sweet. They're very funny and they're very sweet. And I start to hear back from people a lot. Like, oh my gosh, I had to send this to my sister. Oh my gosh, this reminded me so much of my mom. Oh my gosh, do you have a camera in my house? Like, how did you know? And this ability for me to let people know that I see them, I get them, I understand them, builds this huge amount of goodwill. And so then when I want to sell them something, they actually take me seriously because they feel like they can trust me and I'm not just bombarding them with, sales messages all the time. I'm giving them stuff to read that is heartwarming and lets them have a moment in their day. And that's just incredible to me. The technology allows me to reach people and help them feel better about themselves for 2 minutes,
And this is a really critical concept of really connecting. When somebody feels heard and seen and valued, and it's like, even through automation, they feel gotten.
Yeah.
That's what builds that rapport, and that ultimately leads them to want to work with you when they're ready. And so I think as a creative, being able to replicate that in some way is super, super, super powerful.
I have another, just to nerd out on Infusionsoft for 1 second. I have 2 other follow-up sequences that are 365-step follow-up sequences. So there's one called 365 Reasons to Write. And if you ever want to look, it's 365reasonstowrite.com. You can get it. And it's an email a day, right? It's just a little prompt. And some of them are a little kiss on the cheek. And some of them are a little thwack upside the head. And, they're just little creative prompts. People go crazy for these. And I'll get emails all the time like, oh my God, I can't believe you sent this to me today. And I'm like, I know, I can't either.
It's exactly what I needed to hear.
Exactly what you needed to hear. It's beautiful. And this less now that we've worked out all the glitches, but for a while I was getting a lot of like, Sam, I didn't get number 217. I got 216 and I got 218, but I didn't get 217. I'm like, okay, we'll get you 216. And if you ask people how much email do they want to get, they'll say like, oh God, never, like once a month, never, don't email me. And yet they will sign up to get an email from me every single day.
It's value.
It's value.
It's a great tip. I'm glad you shared that because it's something practical we can all learn from and put into action. And if you are highly creative, this is a creative way to connect with people. Create a way to really bond with them in your own authentic, energetic way.
Exactly.
Not just replicating what somebody else does.
Exactly.
So, Samantha, Sam, I don't know why I keep calling you Samantha.
Either way, fine. It was fun. People call me both. I hear both.
Call me.
Yeah, just call me.
What is a favorite quote of yours? I think it's kind of fun to share quotes that, sometimes people get one that they've never heard before. And sometimes they're like, oh yeah, I love that one too.
Yeah. I think about something I heard in church one time, and I don't know who said it originally, but God did not bring you this far to leave you behind now. I find that very heartening. I like the thing about the Isaac Dinesen quote about salt water.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh, the cure for everything is salt water, tears, sweat, or the sea.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful?
I've never heard that one before.
Yeah, it's from Isaac Dinesen, who's out of Africa.
Okay.
That's who that writer is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, what does that mean to you when you hear that, and how does it inspire you?
So I like it that there is a cure for everything.
And it starts with salt.
That's very reassuring.
You can get those in potato chips, for God's sake.
Exactly. And it is really what I find that as we're saying, it's 99.99999% inner game. Yeah. If something is wrong, it's wrong inside of your mind. It's not wrong in the world. It's almost never outside. It's almost always inside. So, understand that your feelings need to be felt, and I always encourage people to make some art about it. If you're stuck on something, make a drawing about it, make a song about it, do a dance about it, get out the Sculpey clay and pound it out. What does that feeling look like to you? And if you can sort of externalize how it feels to feel betrayed or to feel left behind or to feel broke and tired or to feel, whatever it is that you're feeling, to get those tears out, to get that sweat out. That's the number 2, definitely. Get yourself sweaty. You'll definitely feel better.
And there's some creative ways to do that too.
That's right. However you like to get sweaty, get sweaty.
Get sweaty.
Yeah, we're adults here. We can talk about this.
Yes.
And then I'm fortunate enough to I live about a block and a half from the beach. Mm-hmm. So the ocean is a very important part of my life. And I love to swim. I love to swim in cold water even. I'll go to the ocean pretty much every day. And there's very little of the day-to-day stuff that can't be cured by a good beach walk. So
I love it. Thank you. So Sam, I know you're getting ready to bring a new book out, but let's tell everybody where they can get the current copy of Get It Done.
Yes, thank you. Get It Done.
Since it's right back there in the background. It
happens to just be right here. Get It Done, From Procrastination to Creative Genius in 15 Minutes a Day. And it's available everywhere, bookstores, Amazon. And I just did the audiobook version. So
cool.
That'll be out in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah. So. Is it going to be on Audible or just on those?
So, yeah.
Yeah. I love Audible. I have a massive crush on Audible. It's my favorite way to consume audiobooks these days.
I know, isn't it great? It's so cool.
So perfect. Sam, thanks so much for being here. And I want to thank you for being here too. The tips and the insights that we cover here, I truly believe just put one thing into action. Just take one thing, incorporate it, change the mindset, create the new habit, put it into action. You don't have to do it all. But I would love to hear which one that you do resonate with and you will put into action. Come over to the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com and let me know what you are going to put into action from today's session with Sam. I think that there's so many different ways that we can grow and expand, but listening to podcasts and just taking one nugget of wisdom, taking action on it can transform your whole life. So we'll be back again next week with another really, really powerful expert series. And Sam, thanks so much for being here. Again, we'll make sure you have the URL and how to access all of Sam's goodies on the show page as well. So thanks, Sam. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Melanie. Bye.